Hello students. Today I'll begin with the explanation of Unit 5 of the essay Nonviolence by Aldous Huxley. Most of those who in recent years have actually founded associations of devoted individuals have not even attempted to solve the economic problems of our time. They have simply run away from them. Now he says that even if individuals have tried to form an association, they have not been able to solve the economic problems of the recent time. In fact, they have actually run away from the problems. Appalled by the complexities of life in an age of technological advance, they have tried to go backwards. So they have been taken aback by the complexities of life, and that too in an era, in an age which is so advanced as far as technology is concerned. And in such an era, in such an age, they have actually moved backwards instead of going forward with these technologies. Their communities have been little red Indian reservations of economic primitives fenced away from the vulgar world of affairs. So, the community of these individuals who have formed an association, they are just like the red Indians, the red Indian reservations, which refers to the Indian Americans who were given a separate part of land, totally cut off from the mainstream. Similarly, these individuals who have formed an association, they have actually cut themselves away from the vulgar world of affairs. They are not concerned with the complexities of the present age. But the problem of modern industry and finance cannot possibly be solved by setting up irrelevant little associations of handicraftsmen and amateur peasants, incapable in most cases of earning their livelihood and dependent for their bread and butter upon income derived from the hated world of machines. Now, he says that if we are concerned about the problems of the modern industry and finance, these problems cannot be solved by just bringing together the handicraftsmen or the peasants in forming some kind of associations, because they won't be able to solve the problems, because they are actually dependent for their earning, for their livelihood, for the bread and butter. They are dependent totally on machines. We cannot get rid of machinery for the simple reason that in the process of getting rid of it, we should be forced to get rid of that moiety of human race whose existence on this planet is made possible only by the existence of machines. So he says that it is not possible for us to get rid of the machines. Why? Because the moiety means that part of the human race, that is the peasants, the farmers, their existence on the planet is possible only because of the existence of machinery. So we cannot get rid of machines. The machine age in Erehon had evidently led to no startling increase of population. Now, Erehon is a novel by Samuel Butler. Now, the machine age, which has been described in this novel, it had not prominently led to any kind of increase in population. Hence, the relative ease with which the Erehonians were able to return to the horse and handicraft civilization. So, therefore, in this novel, we see that how the Erehonians, they were able to return to the age of, or to the era of horse and handicrafts, because their population was not multiplied even in that machine age. But in the real world, machinery has resulted in the trebling of the population. Trebling means in the multiplying, or three times, the population has increased three times due to the use of machinery. So he says that the real world is just different from the world of Erehonians. So in the age of in the machine age, which is described in Erehon, that novel, there the population does not multiply because of the use of machinery, and therefore it was possible for the civilization to return to that age of horse and handicrafts. But in the real world, the situation is quite contrary. It is like that machinery has resulted in the multiplying of the population of the industrial countries within a century and a half. So, within a period of 150 years, the population has increased three times in the industrial countries due to the use of machinery. A return to horses and handicrafts means a return through starvation. So, here he is saying that if in the real world we think of returning to the age of horses and handicrafts, then it will mean this means that we will have to go through starvation. through hunger. Revolution, massacre, and disease. Not only starvation, but along with starvation, we will have to go through a phase of revolution, massacre, and disease to the old level of population. We will reach the old level of population. Obviously, then, such a return is outside the sphere of practical politics. So, practically, such kind of return to the age of horse and handicrafts is not possible. Those who preach such a return and in their communities of devoted individuals actually practice it are merely shirking the real issues. So, those associations or the people who are preaching this kind of return to the age of handicrafts and horses, they are actually running away. Shirking means they're neglecting and running away from the real issues. Machine production cannot be abolished, it is here to stay. So, machine production, it cannot be actually abolished totally. It is meant to stay in this present world. The question is whether it is to stay as an instrument of slavery or as a way to freedom. Now the question arises that whether the machinery is here to stay as an instrument of slavery or as a way to freedom. This is what we have to think about. A similar question arises in regard to the wealth created by machine production. Is this wealth to be distributed in such a way as to secure the maximum of social injustice, or the minimum? So, another question along with this is that the wealth which has been created by the use of machine power, how this wealth will be distributed? Is this wealth to be distributed in such a way as to secure the maximum of social injustice or minimum of social injustice? Governments and private companies in the ordinary way of business are not specially concerned to discover the proper solutions of these problems. So, governments and private companies, they are not concerned with the solution of such problems. The task therefore devolves. Devolve means it transfers, delegates upon associations of devoted individuals. Therefore, this task of sorting out and solving such problems actually is transferred on the shoulders of the associations which are formed by the clubbing together of devoted individuals. We see then that if such associations are to be useful in the modern world, they must go into business. So he says that if we are thinking about these kinds of association of devoted individuals, then they should try their hand in the modern world in the field of business and go into business in the most scientific and the most unprimitive way possible. So, and they should enter business in the scientific manner and with new techniques, not the primitive ones. Now, in order to engage in any advanced form of industrial or agricultural production, considerable quantities of capital are required. So, if they are thinking of starting some kind of business, whether it is industrial or agricultural production, then capital is also required. The fact is unfortunate, but in existing circumstances, it cannot be otherwise. So, this fact of the requirement of capital is actually unfortunate, but the circumstances are such that they cannot be reverted. Good intentions and personal devotion are not enough to save the world. So, having good intentions and personal devotion, this is not sufficient to save the entire world. If they means good intentions and personal devotion. If they were, the world would have been saved long before this. So, if the world could be saved only by having good intentions and personal devotion, the world would have been saved long back. Why? Because for the supply of saints has never failed, because this world has never been devoid of saints. Saints are the ones who are considered to be people of good intentions and devotion. But the good are sometimes stupid and very often ill informed. But the people with good intentions, they are sometimes stupid and they are often ill informed, not well informed. Few saints have also been scientists or organizers. Even if we look into the fact files of history, we will find that some of the saints have been scientists or organizers. Conversely means opposite to this, few scientists and organizers have been saints. If the world is to be saved, scientific methods must be combined with good intentions and devotion. So he says that good intentions and devotion are not enough. Along with good intentions and devotion, we need to club together scientific methods. By themselves, neither goodness nor intelligence are equal to the task of changing society and individuals for the better. So, if we go by only by goodness or intelligence, they individually cannot work for the betterment of society and individuals. They cannot solely bring change in the society and in the life of individuals. Where modern industrial and agricultural production are concerned, scientific method cannot be applied in vacuo. Vacuo means in isolation. So he says that as far as modern industrial and agricultural production are concerned, scientific methods cannot be used in isolation. It must be applied to machines, to workmen, to an office organization. So these are the fields where they need to be applied. But machines must be bought and supplied with their motive power. Workmen and administrators must be paid. So if machines are to be used, then a balance should be maintained in how they are used, how workmen are to be used, and how their payment is to be administered. Hence the need of capital, and if the payments are to be made, capital is required. In the circumstances of modern life, associations of devoted individuals cannot do much good unless they command the means to make a considerable investment. Now, he says that if we look at the circumstances of modern world, the associations of devoted individuals cannot do much good until and unless they command the means to make a considerable investment. So, just good intentions and devotion is not sufficient. Other assets are also required to bring about change in the modern world, in the modern circumstances. So, that's all for the explanation of Unit 5 of the essay Nonviolence by Aldous Huxley. Thank you.